When we started this channel 3 years ago, one of our first videos was a review of Technics SU-G700, which I absolutely loved. So the question in 2022 is, does the new Technics SU-G700 Mark II live up to the original? You'd be forgiven if you thought that I was showing you footage of the original SU-G700 because the Mark II, at least visually, looks no different. In fact, most of the changes from Mark I to II are internal. Like the Mark I, the Mark II produces 70 watts per channel into 8 ohms and 140 watts into 4. The Technics is not a Class D amp, but it is an all-digital amplifier. Let me explain. Possessing both analog and digital inputs, the G700 can connect to a digital music streamer or disc spinner, the same as it can a turntable or tape deck. Now, where the Technics really differs from other integrated amplifiers is that it treats either signal, be it digital or analog, in the digital realm. That makes the SU-G700 Mark II and all modern Technic amps the least audiophile amps you'll probably ever see, while simultaneously being one of the best audiophile amps you can buy at their price. Confused yet? Audiophiles love to talk about things like system synergy and component matching. You know, match this DAC with this amp, this preamp with this amp in order to get a certain sound, because they're going to mix and match components until they arrive at a sound they prefer or that they believe is right. And that's all great, and it can be a lot of fun. But when it comes to the Technics, the need for mixing and matching kind of goes right out the window. In fact, it can be an outright waste of money. For example, the Technics does not have an internal DAC, but at the same time, connecting one to the 700 isn't going to pay dividends in sound quality because the incoming signal is going to be processed by the pulse width modulation circuit and Geno engine inside the amp, regardless of your DAC's whiz-bang capability. So basically, as The Rock used to say, it doesn't matter what your DAC is. And the same is true of analog signals, even ones from a turntable. They are all converted to 24192 by an analog to digital converter before being sent down the line. So if you're a digital or analog purist or think that you need to be one, the Technics is not for you. For the rest of us who care more about the sound quality and user experience, let's press on. So what is new? Well, the Mark II gets an improved moving magnet and moving coil phono preamp with a phase reversal switch, better grounding, and improved shielding internally. I was hoping for maybe a little bit more trickle down from the R1000's phono preamp, more specifically the R1000's ability to calibrate itself to your turntable's cartridge, but alas, that feature has not found its way to the G700 Mark II. However, the G700 Mark II does get some power supply refinements from the costlier R1000, but that's pretty much it, which is a shame because, like the original, the Mark II still lacks features such as Bluetooth, streaming music capability, and modern connections like HDMI, all of which would have helped to distinguish the new 700 from the old. The Mark II uses Technics' Geno engine as well as features their LAPC tech that effectively calibrates the amp's ability to drive the connected speakers more efficiently for best performance. It is not room correction, and it will likely not produce night and day differences in your speaker's audible performance. It didn't in our tests anyway, but it does enable the amp and your speakers to work in better harmony, so there's no harm in using it. Once you run through the procedure, you'll likely forget it's even there. We tested the amp using 4 different pairs of speakers, the Bowers & Wilkins 805D4s, Klipsch Cornwall 4s, Q Acoustic Concept 50s, and Technic's own G90 Mark IIs, all of which sounded great through the amp, with the Concept 50s, in my opinion, being the absolute best pairing. As for turntables, given how the Technics treats analog signals, I went with our Project debut Carbon Evo and its stock cartridge. For streaming music, we relied on the Blue Sound Node, as well as the LG C2 and Sony X95K and Apple TV 4K. Getting right to it, taking a bird's eye view, the sound of the Technics is clean, clear, smooth, and effortless. This is not an amplifier with a great deal, if any, character or tone. So if you are chasing a warm, rich, or seductive sound, you're not going to find it here, or at least not from the Technics. Conversely, if you're looking for something extra lively or in your face dynamically, again, the Technics isn't that amp. It is largely transparent to the source, which allows your speaker's inherent character or tone to really come through. And that's a good thing in my book, because it is the speaker room interaction that will have the most profound effect on what you hear, and you don't need your amp gumming up the works. But let me break it down. A truly neutral amp will not editorialize or change the signal at all, and yet when listening to the same pair of speakers through the G700 Mark II and comparing it to its bigger, costlier brother, the R1000, there's a difference, and that difference is a bit of weight and an ounce of control, which is most audible in the bass and low mid-bass. When listening to the opening of Lady Blackbird's Did Someone Make a Fool Out of You, the low, plucky bass had all the detail and focus I've come to expect through the G700 Mark II, but the R1000 brought out a greater sense of weight and dimension, doing a better job rendering each note in true three-dimensional space compared to the less expensive G700 Mark II. The difference is not subtle, but then again, it shouldn't be given the almost $7,000 price gap. Compared to similarly priced amps such as the Marantz Model 40N and the NAD C399, the Technics bass feels snappier, more resolving, and simply effortless. While the NAD may be closest to the Technics in terms of its amp design, there is a sense of soul and drive that the NAD just doesn't have. The NAD can sound more dampened in the bass, coming across as dull at times, whereas the Technics has the same depth but an added sense of agility to go along with it. Shifting my focus to the mid-range, I love how the Technics sounds. Again, when compared to the R1000, the G700 lacks that last ounce or two of palpable body and dimension, but compared to amplifiers in its class, it is an absolute tour de force. Clean, articulate, and rife with inflection that singer-songwriters such as Alanis Morissette, Beth Hart, or Lady Blackbird have a real in-room presence. And the same is true when it comes to instruments like acoustic guitars that you hear throughout Mission Impossible 2's soundtrack. They're just so ridiculously articulate and effortless in their control and agility that it made me shake my head more than once. As for the treble, not much to report. Its sneers makes no difference. Perfect. Though the costlier R1000 does possess more, you guessed it, body and air in direct comparison, but among its peers, I would be hard-pressed to name an amp whose treble performance was outright better than the Technics, because it never became fatiguing or harsh at high volumes, even when connected to brighter-leaning speakers such as the Klipsch or B&W. And speaking of Klipsch, the Technics is dead nut silent when at idle, so those of you with higher sensitivity speakers who are on the market for a quieter amp, the Technics is for you. When it comes to soundstage and dynamics, the Technics has terrific instrument placement and scale. Separation throughout the soundstage is excellent, whether discussing width or depth, both of which easily extend beyond the boundaries of the speakers themselves. As for dynamics, they are good, but admittedly they do get better and sound more impressive, not to mention effortless, as you turn things up. Good news is, as the volume gets louder, the amp does not appear to compress either in terms of tone or spatially, which I loved because it allowed me to listen louder for longer without hitting that wall of listener fatigue. If you are a true vinyl purist, I would not be surprised if you love and hate this amp. Me? I love it, but because of the internal analog to digital conversion, you lose some imperfections that may be inherent to an album either in the mix or due to its age, which can be part of the vinyl listening experience. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you don't want your records to sound more like your CDs or high-res audio files, maybe skip the Technics, because every album I queued up sounded cleaner through the G700 Mark II than it did when using a traditional all-analog setup. Again, I love the Technics for its vinyl playback, but understand if others feel differently. And as for comparisons, I have made a few throughout this review, so I'm going to keep things brief. I prefer the Technics for its build, looks, and sound quality over that of the NAD C399 and Marantz Model 40N, and even our beloved AUDIOLAB 6000A Play, though I fully admit the AUDIOLAB is notably cheaper and to many not likely comparable for budgetary reasons. Nevertheless, I did compare the two, and while I love the AUDIOLAB, there's no denying the Technics is better. But the Marantz hangs around on my list as the biggest challenger because it is a more inclusive package for roughly the same money. As easy as the Technics is to live with and as good as it sounds, it still lacks a lot of modern features you get with the Marantz. While yes, I think the Technics looks and sounds better, there's just no denying the Marantz and even the NAD C399 are the better overall values. And for those of you who will no doubt ask, we are still trying to get our hands on ARCAM, but as of this review, we still have had no luck, and so I have no comment. Sorry. The SA20 looks to be comparable in terms of specs and is currently on sale, though the real steal may be the SA30 because it has Dirac Live and an HDMI port. So as far as connectivity is concerned, the ARCAM SA30 may be the better option, especially considering you can snag one for about the same price as the Technics while it's on sale, and we'll link to all of that down below. As for how the SU-G700 Mark II compares to the costlier R1000, I mean, they use the same tech, so they should be comparable, right? No. The R1000 is the better amp. Full stop. While they may look similar on the surface, the R1000 monsters the G700 Mark II. But like I said earlier, for an extra $7,000, it better. The R1000 remains one of the best amplifiers ever made. Period. So the real question on everyone's mind is, should you buy the new Mark II over the original SU-G700, or should you upgrade? I'm going to give it to you straight. If you already own the SU-G700, I see no reason to upgrade. There does not appear to be a big enough leap, if any, in sonic performance to justify the switch. If you don't already own the SU-G700, then get the Mark II and never look back. Now, supply chain issues being what they are, you may find it difficult to find a Mark II in stock. So I would throw caution to the wind and buy now if one comes available, because you never know when the opportunity will arise again. I'm guessing it comes as no surprise that the new SU-G700 Mark II earns high marks for me, given just how in love I was with its predecessor. In true, if it ain't broke, don't fix it fashion, the Mark II isn't so much a new amplifier as it is an incremental improvement over the original. While not night and day different, it remains a very special amplifier, one that I believe is a leader in its class and one that definitely still stands out. So that's it. That is now my review of Technics SU-G700 Mark II, but what did you think of it, Kristi?
Do I love this amp? 100%, yes I do. Throw the box away. I would like it to stay.
Okay.
Now, do I 100% understand why Technics put this amp out, or really what the difference is? Sorry, 100%, I do not. Doesn't mean that I'm not happy with it or glad that it's here. I am. I just really don't get the why.
Yeah.
I really, really think that Technics missed an opportunity to make the changes between the Mark I and II more obvious. Like, where the heck is my HDMI? You have had time. You've had the time.
Yeah.
But, on a positive note, at least they aren't charging a month's worth of rent to get the new Mark II.
This is true. This is true.
Yes, you'll pay about $200 more today if you buy the new bottle, but given today's inflation prices, I'm not too mad about it.
Yeah, it's kind of the same. Or a wash.
Okay, now what I really think people want to know is just how much more do you get by going from this to the R1000? And yeah, I know that you talked about it in the review, but half those people weren't listening. So we should probably just talk about it again.
Because they're here for your part.
Well, yeah, I mean, some of them have admitted that they just skipped
right to this point.
And they've already started typing their question.
All right.
And rather than me have to say, please watch the review, we should just talk about it again. But look, in my opinion, this is the deal. If you don't have the money to get the R1000, which, no judgment.
A lot of people do.
Then don't ever listen to it. Seriously, do not do it because it will ruin you forever.
It will.
I mean, it is the better amp for sure. No take-backsies. It is a better experience.
Yes.
Perfect example. When we were listening to Bjork, It's So Quiet. It's Oh So Quiet, which fantastic song if you want to demo like dynamics and things like that. While listening to that song on the Diamonds, the Bowers and Wilkins is what I'm talking about. Between that and the G700, I remember I said I felt like there was something missing from the performance, but when we switched to the R1000, everything else remaining the same, turn that song back on. Whoa, it was all there.
Yeah.
No regrets, people. Swipe my credit card.
Yeah, I agree. The R1000 is better. I know in the review, I said that there wasn't a night and day difference between the G700 Mark I and the Mark II. Well, there is a night and day difference between the Mark II and the R1000. And it is actually pretty rare that an amplifier comes along where I feel that strongly. But this is an example of, it's not an incremental improvement. It is demonstrably different. And if money wasn't an object, the R1000 is absolutely the amp that I would buy. But if I had never heard the R1000, or I knew that that was not in my future, then the 700 Mark II is is an experience in and of itself, and one that is truly, truly unique and likely is going to stand out against other comparable amplifiers in and around its price bracket.
I agree with you. I mean, I think when we paired the G700 to the Concept 50s, which if you don't know by now, those speakers are amazing. And queuing up the same song, the Bjork song, honestly, I could not ask for more. Fantastic. Just so good. Just so good.
Cannot speak highly enough of that pairing.
But I think the bottom line that some speakers are going to need the R1000 to really sing, and some don't. So I think you just have to know your system, which is either going to save you some money or put you in debt.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, it really depends on what you're chasing. If you're chasing exacting performance, the R1000 and the 805D4s was magical. The 805D4s with the 700 Mark II, it works. It sounds good, but it really felt like the R1000 unlocked what that speaker was really capable of and elevated it for us. Whereas the Concept 50s, man, on the 700 Mark II, like you said, it's
a magical pairing.
It's a magical pairing. Like, here's my card. I'm off the roller coaster. Enjoy. Hi-fi, everybody. I'm going to be enjoying music.
Yeah. I completely agree. Yeah. Now, if we're talking about other amps not named R1000, would I rather have the G700 over the Marantz Model 40N? Yeah, I would. Like I said in the Denon 900 HNE review that we just recently did, I think an integrated amp is meant to be seen.
Yeah.
And as much as I appreciate the more forward-thinking style of the Marantz, the G700, for me, is the more elegant product. I hate that it doesn't have the HDMI, and seriously, if the next Technics
Mark III
doesn't have an HDMI, Technics, I'm done. You're dead to me. So figure it out.
Figure it out.
There are no more excuses.
Yeah, it is.
It's time.
It's not a connection option that's on the rise. It's ubiquitous. It's
if I can get an HDMI connection in a car, you have zero hi-fi. You have zero excuses.
Yeah,
there are none. Get your together.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love the Model 40N. It is a workhorse. I will always recommend it until maybe like a Model 40N version 2 comes along, in which case we'll have this type of review for it. I want all of the functionality of the 40N, and I want the amplifier section of the Technics. Just put them together.
Put them together. And again, I just want to be clear. I still really, really like the Model 40N, and compared to similar integrateds in its class, like the Name, Unity Atom, the Cambridge Audio Evo 150, whatever, the NAD, whatever version
C399 or
want to
whatever
have
number
out today.
Yeah.
I'm picking the Marantz.
Yeah.
It is a great amplifier and such a great value considering what you can do with it.
Yeah.
I just think there is something a little bit special about the Technics that it doesn't have. And I've had problems quantifying what that is in the past. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
It is hard to put your finger on.
Because I know it's not a Class A, B amplifier. There is no comparison.
It's different. It is different.
Don't know what it is. Honestly, don't really care.
Yeah, that Geno engine, it's its own thing. Technics, that's their baby. And
I'm not really concerned about the technical workings behind it. I can just tell you what I like, what I don't like. If that jives with you, cool. If it doesn't, totally understand. I mean, I'm picking the R1000 over all of it.
Well,
Just to be clear.
My budget stretches to $10,000, and so I'm picking the $10,000, or sorry, it's like $9,500 now, or $9,600.
Guys,
now.
I never said I wasn't bougie.
Oh, bougie. I
have expensive taste.
Oh, yes, she does. Oh, yes, she
and
does.
I'm fine with that.
But you know what? The R1000, I think, is worth every penny.
But I do have beer budgets also. You know, like I like beer budget products just as much.
You do. You advocate. I mean, hell, We still haven't sold, like on Craigslist, the JBL Stage Towers, because she's just like, I still really like those. and they're good speakers. So
yeah. I will not hesitate to advocate for something affordable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think both of these are really good products.
Yeah.
The R1000, the G700, the first G700.
Yeah.
They're all good. Look, but here's the thing. If you think you're going to go get that G700, the original one, on sale, I don't think that's going to happen.
I think they're gone now. I'm pretty confident they are gone now. You may find one or two stragglers, but I did notice that the G700 Mark II does appear to be in stock in a few places, finally. At least it was yesterday.
Yeah, we'll put some links.
Who knows?
We'll
Who
put
knows
some links for you in the description
today.
To make it easier for you to find them, because that has been a pretty constant struggle for a lot of brands, just, you know, having something that you can actually get your hands on. But again, look, everything I've set aside, I think Technics made a really good product. I would highly recommend you check it out. I love it.
All right, that is now our review of the Technics SU-G700 Mark II. What did you guys think? Let us know down in the comments below. And question of the day for you, Mark II, was it an upgrade? Did they take it far enough? Don't mess with perfection. What are your thoughts? If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Go ahead and ring that bell so that you're notified when new videos come out. If you use any of the links that Kristi leaves for you down below, know that that is a great way that you've continued to show your support for this channel and the work that we do here. And both of us, thank you very much for doing that. Follow me on Instagram at Recovering Audiophile, and that is it for us today. So remember, the only person who has to like the sound of your system is you. So happy listening, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the next video. Bye.